Hello everyone, welcome to today's Hangout on Air featuring Google Earth Pro 7.1. We're going to share a special offer with you guys today. I am honored to be joined today by Peter Birch, who is a product manager for Google Maps for Business. I'm going to wave. And also by John Anderson, who's an engineer on our Google Maps for Business as well. And I'm Christina Mondini. I am part of our enterprise team here at Google. If you have any questions during the broadcast, make sure and put them in the comment section of this post, and we will do best to answer those questions if we have time at the end. And with that, we're ready to kick it off. Go ahead, Peter.
Great, thanks so much. Thanks, Christina. So yeah, we're really excited today to talk to you about Google Earth Pro 7.1, which is a release that's going live as we speak right now. And to refresh all our memory, I want to just talk a little bit about what Google Earth Pro is. So obviously, Google Earth Pro is the professional version of Google Earth, and Google Earth is probably one of the most downloaded applications around. We have over a billion downloads. It's a fantastic tool for browsing the world, exploring, going on virtual travel, sharing places that are interesting to you with your friends and family, really just a way of getting lost in the world. And it's just an incredibly powerful tool. But Google Earth Pro is an even more powerful tool for professionals who are trying to solve real world problems. And so there's really a series of additional capabilities and features you get with Pro that allow you to do detailed analysis. So we have a robust measurement tool that allows you to measure areas and lengths, even do 3D measurements. You can do print, publishing, and sharing. So there's a high resolution print capability that is unique to Pro. And then for decision making, we have custom layers that are available. We also have a movie maker built in, which is a way of actually creating beautiful custom movies that are at the full resolution. That's a great way to share out what you have. So today with Google Earth 7.1, we have a couple of really exciting new things that we're introducing for the Pro product. So the first is actually an existing feature, which is printing, which is, as we've talked to you out there, really one of the critical things that you've told us that's important about Earth Pro. It's about being able to take your results, share it out within your organization, to really, visualize the results of your analysis and your work. And so we have a substantial rewrite of the printing functionality that really makes it much more useful. And the other one is a whole brand new feature that we call Viewshed. And what this is it's a way of visualizing the line of sight from any given point. So basically, you can see where a point is visible anywhere around it. And that includes in 3D urban landscapes, in terrain. So maybe you're interested in placing a cell tower or some other radio tower, and you want to see what the line of sight of that is. Maybe you have a billboard or some advertising, and you want to know where that can be seen from. If you're in construction or architecture, you want to see where a given point of a building can be seen from or can see. And these are really exciting new features. One other thing that's in there as well is we've added HTTPS support. So for those of you, this is another feature that we've heard a lot from folks, that they really want to be able to maintain a secure connection for all of their activities. So now the requests that go out to Google servers, you can optionally configure to run in HTTPS. So with that, I'm going to switch to John, who's going to show you some demos of these great new features.
Okay, thank you, Peter. So I'm John. I'm going to show you the Viewshed and printing capabilities in Google Earth Pro 7.1. So here's Google Earth, which you might be familiar with. And to begin, I'm going to start by flying into New York City, which we've recently added as one of our 3D building cities. So you can see all the vast cityscape of New York. So here I've flown into New York. You can see Manhattan. And I've put a place mark on the Empire State Building. So I'm going to fly us down through New York City towards the Empire State Building. And we'll be able to see all of the new 3D building data. Now, as Peter was saying, the Viewshed tool allows you to put a place mark in your scene And then from that place mark, you can see everything else that's visible. So what we've done is we've added some entry points to this feature. So I've flown to the Empire State Building. To enter into the viewshed tool, you select the place mark. Here I select the Empire State Building in the left-hand panel. You can either go to the Edit menu and say Show Viewshed, or simply right-click on the place mark in the left-hand panel or the 3D view and say Show Viewshed. So let's do that now. So when I select Show Viewshed, Google Earth will load all the high-resolution data that we have around the place mark and compute a viewshed. We show the progress so you know what's happening, and it doesn't take too long. What you'll get as a result is a colorization in your 3D view of all the points that are visible from that place mark. So we color everything that's visible as green and everything that's not visible as a darkened gray.
So everything's green here because basically you can see everything from that point, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I can even look around in the 3D data from this place mark, and we'll see that everything is green around in a 360-degree view.
That's not very interesting. I mean, I know I can see everywhere there, right?
So let's consider looking around. Everything's visible, right? But what we can do then is navigate outside of this constrained view, and we'll start to see where the shadows are, where we can't see, right? So if I'm standing on top of the Empire State Building, maybe I can't see all these roads, because they're blocked by buildings. And we can see that the nearby buildings, viewed from the Empire State Building, will actually cast, they'll shadow terrain in the background.
Cool. You can even see like the silhouette of the skyline up there of on the Hudson.
Right. That's right. So we imagine that this would be a great tool for architects, or if you're planning a new building, some urban development, you might want to see the impact of that development on the nearby views that others might have, or you might want to use it for various different urban applications.
Cool. And one of the great things about this is that this will work with, as John mentioned, with this new 3D imagery, which we're rolling out in cities around the world at a rapid rate. This will also work with your own 3D models. So if you're considering what the impact of adding a building or some other 3D structure is, that's going to be really powerful.
That's right. So the next application that I'd like to show is kind of in a more traditional terrain environment. And it has to do with, this is Earth Day, of course, and it has to do with the energy application, renewable energy. So here I've flown to Southern California area, and we're going to consider using the new features of Google Earth Pro to maybe plan a wind farm. So the Southern California area is known for having high winds, and it's a good place for putting in wind energy. And so here I've flown into an area, and there's I've kind of got some KML already generated. You can see it in my left-hand panel.
So the KML it's an overlay on the map that's kind of showing some of these different regions, right?
That's right. So what I've done is I've annotated in red some of the populated areas. So here you can see Quebec, and then there's another populated area up here on the kind of left-hand portion of my view. And I've also put in KML two of the proposed hypothetical wind energy areas. So you can see those. So let's fly to one. Now a concern might be if someone was to install wind energy, would it be visible from a populated area? And you might say that you might want to maximize the energy that you get and minimize the impact on the environment and people's views and maybe property values. So what we can do is I have a hypothetical wind turbine here at 100 meters. I can right-click on it in the 3D view and say Show Viewshed. Now, just like in the New York example, it will load all the high-resolution terrain, and it will show the viewshed in 360 degrees around that wind turbine. Now, what I can do is I can fly over towards these populated areas that we've marked, and I can toggle them on and off, and it's clear to see that the viewshed does intersect some of these populated areas. So we might say, well, can we find a better location? And so previously,
so like a better location where more people could see the wind turbines because they look cool.
That's right. You can plan for that use case too. So
you're assuming that people don't want to see the wind turbines?
I suppose.
All right.
That's the great thing about Google Earth Pro 7.1 is it's really flexible, so you can do all sorts of things. So here's another area, wind turbine B, and we can right-click on it and say Show Viewshed the same way. You know, we can switch between one viewshed to another, and it will do the analysis. And you'll notice really fast because we've already loaded all the data, right? And you'll see here that it doesn't intersect these populated areas. So you might say, well, you know, maybe that's better or worse depending on your desires, but this tool allows you to kind of answer those questions. You can kind of determine your own criteria, you can perform your own analysis, and this kind of leads into the next feature of Google Earth Pro 7.1, which is a revamped printing tool. So you might say, well, that's great. How can I save this or present it?
Yeah, so maybe you're going to go to, you're the wind company and you want to make a presentation to the city board or whatever and say, hey, this is what the impact of this type of project would be, right?
Oopsie daisy. Yeah, I shouldn't randomly click while you're talking. Yeah, that's right. So what we've done is we've kind of revamped the printing and save image features in the tool. So the entry points are the same. So you can say File, Save Image, or File, Print. We've also made them available on the toolbar as the print icon and the save image icon, which is new. So let's enter into the new print mode. So I'll click on the print toolbar button. So already you can see some of the changes from previous versions of Google Earth Pro. What we end up with is a WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get interface for printing, where we get different map elements that overlay on the screen. We can configure the map elements, and then we can save it out to a printed map. We can either print it to a printer, save it to an image, or save it to a PDF. The map elements, for the most part, are fully customizable. So what we can do is, you'll see that it says untitled map and asks us to write a description for the map. So let's do that now. So I simply left-click on the item that I want to edit, in this case the title and description, and I can write in a title. So I'll say Wind Power Survey. And we'll write a nice description here. Viewshed analysis of potential wind energy sites. Right? Cool. Okay. The next thing to take note of in this new print tool is the legend on the upper right by default. The legend captures the 3D view. It looks at the KML, the places, anything that you have in the 3D view, and automatically derives the legend for it.
So you're saying you didn't create that legend ahead of time. That was actually automatically created just for this view.
That's right. That's right. So you can see in the left-hand panel, I have wind turbines, wind farm, KMLs, polygons, etc. I also have some places that come with Google Earth layers. As you'll see, there's Grapevine Peak. That's part of Google's data set that you get for free. Enhanced layers are actually included in Google Earth Pro. So I can click on the legend and I can configure it just like the title and description. So maybe in this I don't want to show Grapevine Peak, although it's probably good for hiking. And maybe I want to rename the Lebec here to City, or Lebec, California, to be very explicit. I can also turn on and off items. And you'll notice that the legend grouped similarly named KML together. So I had wind turbine A and B as my places, but it ended up as just wind turbine. So that's some of the smarts that we've embedded in the legend generation.
That's great.
There's also a scale and compass in the lower left. Now,
and by left you mean right.
That's exactly correct. It's that's right. That's correct. So I haven't shown it, but these map elements can be moved around. So I can drag them and reposition them as I might like. That goes for the scale legend too. So I can drag it around, and one of the neat things that we've done in this new print interface is to account for perspective and tilted views. So as I drag the scale around, it will dynamically query the terrain and adapt the length of the scale to basically whole number lengths. So here I say 3 kilometers. If I drag it up, it goes to 4 kilometers, and the length is changing dynamically.
Right, because it's a 3D map. It's not like there's one fixed length. Because you get further away, it changes, right? That's always been a problem with legends in Earth. This is a really great addition.
You don't always want to make a top-down view like a printed map. You want to be able to make a really rich map. So I can put it next to the wind turbine B site and see that it's approximately 2 kilometers in length, or I can just put it back in the lower right corner, and it likes it there. Sure. The compass, of course, updates dynamically. So here I'm rotating around and you can see it move. And one of the neat features that we've done is, it's kind of mandatory to show the copyright information of the map. But what you can do is you can actually move the copyrights and the Google attribution to kind of make it more aesthetically pleasing within your map. You could put it next to your logo, you could put it in a corner, you could center it. We gave you kind of more flexibility as a user to determine where you want the
that's great.
mandatory elements to be.
Tons of people have asked for that, where it's like, hey, I really want it offered here, and I want it in some other part of the map.
We want to be able to lay out our map the way we want. Let's work together on that. So there's a few more features I want to point out. You might think, I don't want a landscape printout. I want to do a portrait paper, right? And before in other products and previous versions of Google Earth, it can be hard to know intuitively in your mind what will switching from landscape to portrait do to my printed page, right? Is that we're going to mess something up, right? Well, in Google Earth Pro, you can switch to portrait orientation, hit OK, and we adjust your map automatically, maintaining the relative positions of all the elements. And we give you a kind of a graphical preview of the page size embedded within the screen. That's what these darkened borders are in the map.
So that again shows you which area, what it's going to look like when it prints out.
That's exactly right. So let's switch back. I think it might look better with landscape, right? And again, it just automatically lays out. We've kind of, to round out the power of this new print interface, we have some other options that you can go into if you're so inclined. There's an additional HTML area, which I don't think we can describe it, but
so that basically means you could put in your own custom HTML if you wanted to do a logo or do something fancier.
That's right. So I mean, it's so simple, I might as well show it, right? So I went into the map options and I selected the HTML area. This is another element on the screen which I can drag around and reposition. And it says, edit this HTML to add a logo, right? So I could do that. I can just click on this. I get an HTML area here. And previously, I had written some HTML that included a logo and some text. So
yeah, so anyone who does web design, they have something like this, this is basically any of that would work.
That's right. So what I can do is I can take that previously written HTML, or I could, paste in some HTML if I knew it. And here the important part is I pasted an image tag and some text. And we see here a logo, and it's resizable and repositionable. So here we've some windmills, and some hypothetical non-existing company called Google Energy, and that becomes part of the map, and you can reposition this as you'd like. So we imagine that this would be useful for people wanting to put in their own company logos or extra information on a printed map. There's another really neat feature on the print interface that I'd like to show, which is the color adjustment mode. So you'll notice here I have some yellow KML, some yellow polygons, and some red polygons, And I can even turn on things like roads.
Mhm.
So I just turned on roads there. Now, if I print this out directly, in some areas, some colors,
It's a little busy, right?
it might look a little bit busy. So what we've done is we've added these styling options here. Now, there's three options. There's full color, which is what it's set to now. There's semi-desaturated color and grayscale. I'll just show grayscale because it's the most obvious what happens. So I selected grayscale. What happens is it actually makes the base map and 3D buildings, 3D terrain, it makes those shown in grayscale, as if you printed it to a black and white printer. But it leaves the KML and polygons and all the rich data, all the overlay data, as full color. So here it still shows all my KML, wind place marks, roads.
So it really emphasizes your analysis on top of this, right? So it's
That's
like
right.
the background's there to give you context, but it's really highlighting the fact that you're talking about this wind turbine. And
That's right. That's right. It lets you kind of paint the story in the way that you want to show. Now it looks like we're getting really close to completing a map here. Now I claimed in the description of this that it was a viewshed analysis map. So let's just make sure that we show, make sure that our printed map actually has the viewshed that we want to highlight. And there it is. And I think that's a pretty compelling map. And so once you're done with all this configuration, you can print it, save to PDF. We've also allowed you to, kind of save all your hard work as a map configuration. So I can save this out to a .ge print file. I can then reload it in Google Earth Pro 7.1 or share it with a colleague, and they can load it up and edit the map and kind of add their own information.
so let's go ahead and print one out.
Let's print one out, yeah. So I'll save PDF so we don't have to run to the printer down the hall, and I'll say, wind survey .pdf. All right, and here we go.
Now this is where things usually get ugly, right? Because you look at this on the screen, then you actually see what you get in the printer, and it's like has
That's
no
right.
relationship to it, right?
But-
So let's see how we do.
So I have to figure out how to get to my desktop, and it'll load up in Chrome.
Wow, let me go to our infinitely fast printer here and hold up a printout. Look at that. It's like a cooking show, right? Where you have the one in the oven that's all done.
Yeah, there it is.
So this is an example of what a printout like that might look like. And wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm really happy to show off
Sweet.
So let's go back to this presentation.
Yeah. So as we mentioned before, this is available today. We actually just launched this. And to kind of celebrate the launch of 7.1 Pro, as well as kind of a gift for Earth Day, we're running a special promo. And this is going to be active for the next 24 hours. And basically, you just go to, you can kind of see on the screen here the URL. We have a promo code, which is EarthProHOA. That's for Hangout on Air. And if you do that in the next 24 hours, you get a very special deal of $199 for a 1-year subscription to Earth Pro.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So it's normally $399. It's a really awesome deal. We really want people to go in and check out these neat features, as well as take advantage of all the things that are included as part of Google Earth Pro, including the custom layers with like demographic data, movie making, GIS import, where you can bring in shape files and CSVs or spreadsheets of different tabular data and be able to visualize it on the map.
So that's basically half off special, right?
It's pretty good, huh?
Wow.
If you go back, you can always review through the recorded URL to see what the presentation to see the URL. But Earth Pro HOA is the promo code that you can use for the next 24 hours, wherever you are. All right.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. As you can tell, I really love my Google effects.
Apparently.
So we have some time for Q&A, and we've actually gotten quite a few questions in the stream out here. So I'm just going to ask them away, and then you two decide between yourselves which ones wants to take these questions. The first one is, what's the difference between Google Earth Pro and the free client?
Sure. So I'll take that. I kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier, but obviously, Earth Free and Earth Pro are part of the same family, right? There's a lot of the same capabilities are shared. Earth Free is a really fantastic tool for exploring and visualizing. You can author KML, you can share it. So it is really a great way to kind of get started with using Earth for whatever you may want. Earth Pro is really catering to the professional, the business use case, right? And so we realize that in your business, you might be interested in more than perhaps going and looking at your house or checking out you may want to go check out your next vacation spot. But what you really want to be able to do is make meaningful business decisions. You might have existing GIS data, so especially, as I mentioned, this like GIS import capability where you can import dozens of different file formats. We'll convert it into KML. We'll be able to visualize that in Earth. Movie Maker, obviously these two new exciting features are only included with the Pro feature. And if you go to our website, earth.google.com/pro, there's a table there that will talk about some of the more details in terms of what you get when you purchase Pro.
Right. I think it's worth adding that there's a trial version, right, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to check it out, and in the next 24 hours before our offer goes away, you want to go see if it's something you want to take advantage of, you can sign up right away. There's a 7-day free trial, and you can actually play around with and experiment with that.
Great.
Is there a way to view content that I've created in Earth Pro on my mobile device?
Sure. So again, the Earth family includes not only Earth Free and Pro, but also the Android and iOS versions. And so you can actually, so KML is the file format, that's the native file format for Earth. It's also an open standard, so there's a lot of tools out there that support that. And if you do create a KML file, you can actually then just click on that link in your phone. So if you have Google Earth installed in your phone, one way you can do is if you email it to yourself, or if you have a web page and you have it as a link that points to that KML file and you browse to that in your browser, opening a KML file will basically automatically launch Earth, and it will open it up with that map, and you can be able to view it on your mobile, whether it's a phone or a tablet.
Great. I didn't know that. That's cool.
There you go. Everyone learns something new.
Yeah. What's your favorite feature of Google Earth Pro?
Well, we're a little biased, I think. I love this viewshed thing because it's really, I think, being able to really visualize things in 3D. Because people are also always trying to figure out when do how does Google Maps and Google Earth interrelate? And having a 2D map experience, for example, with Google Maps Engine Lite and Google Maps Engine is really powerful tools for visualizing map data. But sometimes being able to visualize it in 3D is a critical element, and that's really what Earth is bringing to the equation as part of Maps for Business, right? And being able to actually take advantage of not just sort of a pretty picture of what a 3D terrain looks like, but being able to actually do real analysis on that and visualize a viewpoint from anywhere in 3D.
It kind of dovetails with one of my favorite features, which is some of the 3D buildings and urban data that we have in Google Earth Pro. It's fantastic to be able to combine those two things, show off a feature like viewshed.
It's great to see you two so enthusiastic. It's exciting.
It's morning too.
I know, it's early. Okay, we have time for one more question. What is the highest point the viewshed tool can work?
I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, it'll pretty much work anywhere on the Earth. So it will, you can put it on the top of Mount Everest and plan your next, mountain climbing adventure. Good luck if you're doing that. Or you can put it in, the Mariana Trench and do an underwater viewshed if you want. And it'll work if you put it suspended in air for about, maybe, I think 5 kilometers is a good.
So there's a radius around the point, right?
Yeah, there's a radius around the point, and I believe it goes out maybe 5 or 10 kilometers.
And then basically when you create your place mark, you can give it, you can go into the properties for the place mark, right? And you can say clamp to ground, and then you have to bump it up a little bit. Or
That's right.
if you want to put it on top of a building, there's a mode where you can have it track the mouse and it will actually place it on top of the building. So basically, you just want to put it at the point, where you would want to see that view. So for example, if you had a 10-meter antenna and you're putting it on top of a building, you'd want to put it basically 10 meters above the top of that building to accurately represent the effect.
Right. And we have some friendly help in the program when you try and place your position your place mark. If you get it wrong and you position it too low, it'll ask you if you want to reposition it, bump it up, or you can edit it manually and add. It'll tell you what the minimum height is, and you can go from there to really accurately position it.
Neat. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Peter and John. We're out of time, but we've fulfilled the whole 30 minutes. So thank you for your time and for your enthusiasm and for being here today. And just a reminder to everyone watching us live, we're going to have the recap post with the recording in a couple of days. So stay tuned on our Enterprise Plus page. All right. Thanks, everybody.
And look to our Enterprise blog for more details about the launch today.
Great.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.